Good morning. My name is Ron Villivalam. I am the state senator for the 8th District on the northwest side of Chicago, northwest suburbs, and also the chair of the Senate Transportation Committee. I want to thank everyone for joining us here today. Today we're here to talk about our public transit system. Sustainable transportation is essential to Illinois. It supports livable, walkable communities, enables an equitable and affordable access to opportunities, underpins a vibrant community, and improves public health. However, we know that our current regional transit system needs improvement to provide integrated and community-centered service for all of our residents. As fiscal pressures bear down on us, now is the time to reinvent public transit and plan for the year 2050, not just to plug a hole. Last year, the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning, at the request of the Illinois General Assembly, engaged regional and national experts to develop the Plan of Action for Regional Transit, PART Plan, to define how to improve our transit system to meet the needs of our riders and businesses. Now it's time to put some of those recommendations into action. Therefore, I am pleased to announce the introduction of the Metropolitan Mobility Authority Act. The bill establishes the MMA as a fully integrated regional transit agency in northeastern Illinois. A fund for $1.5 billion in annual operations funding is established by a companion appropriations bill because we need to not only address the impending fiscal cliff, but double down on reimagining public transit. We need both integrated management and increased funding to provide a safe, reliable, accessible, environmentally conscious transit system for all of our residents, and one that they deserve. The Metropolitan Mobility Authority Act is one of 3 critical pieces of legislation that comprise the Clean and Equitable Transportation Act. This package is a comprehensive approach to transforming our transportation system by adopting a declining greenhouse gas target to get the transportation sector carbon neutral by 2050, increasing the availability and reliability of zero-emission vehicles, and building out charging infrastructure while facilitating a race to the top for vehicle workers. And, as I mentioned, implementing the Metropolitan Mobility Authority Act to enact overdue transit governance and funding reforms to deliver coordinated regional transit service throughout northeastern Illinois and increase operations resources. By making transit work great, making it an option people want to use, we can get people out of their cars and into their communities. We can leverage this incredible asset to make Illinois downtowns more walkable, more vibrant, and more prosperous. We can make it easier to get around in Illinois so people can earn and spend money fueling our local economy. We can support equitable and affordable mobility to lift up those who need support the most. At the same time, we will create and support more jobs in the transportation sector. Public transit construction jobs and maintenance jobs will be an incredible boost to our working and middle-class families. I look forward to having this robust conversation. I'm proud to sponsor this legislation this morning. And now I will introduce my partner in the House, State Representative Evedina Delgado.
Good morning. My name is Evedina Delgado. I'm the state representative for the 3rd District, which is on the northwest side of the city of Chicago. And I also like to call myself a passionate transit advocate. And my vision for the future of transit is that one day people will choose to get in on a bus or on a train first rather than to drive in their cars. I imagine a time where riders will enjoy a seamless experience where they can easily jump on a bus or a train, feel safe, feel comfortable, pay one universal fare, and arrive at their destination on time. The Metropolitan Mobility Authority Act marks the first pivotal step in transforming this vision into a reality. This legislation is not merely about improving transit. It's about redefining the way we move, the way we connect, and how we thrive as a community. It lays the groundwork for a future where transit is the catalyst to a success. But let's be candid about the challenges that we face. Without bold action, we face a 20% cut in funding. That would equate to a devastating 40% cut in transit service. And that is just simply untenable. Folks, if you think traffic is bad now, imagine what it would be like if transit service was cut by more than half. So we have to turn these challenges into an opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to equity. Investing in transit is another way to invest in communities that have been left behind. Because transit isn't just about moving people from point A to point B, it's about bridging the gaps that divide us and ensuring that every individual, regardless of their circumstance, has the opportunity to thrive. And while funding is key to investing in our systems, we also must recognize the need for governance reforms within our transit agencies. We must require that regional planning focuses on the rider's needs and the rider's experience, regardless of whether it's rapid transit or commuter rail or bus service. Our travel patterns have changed a lot, and enacting these reforms that prioritize responsiveness and efficiency, we can ensure that our transit systems are capable of meeting the evolving needs of our communities. So as we get down to the hard work of policymaking, I want to seize this opportunity to come together with our partners and collaborators. Let's tap into the collective wisdom of our communities and chart a course towards the future. I urge all our stakeholders, whether they're elected officials, transit agencies, community leaders, business leaders, riders and non-riders alike, to join us in this endeavor, because together we can make transformative change. Thank you. And I hand it over to our next speaker.
Good morning. My name is Derek Douglas. I'm the president of the Civic Committee and the Commercial Club of Chicago. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning. I want to start by thanking Senator Villavalum and Representative Delgado for their exemplary leadership and support of public transportation. Bold changes like this do not happen without strong leadership, and we could not be in greater hands and greater support than we've received from the Senator and the Representative. I'm standing here today because transit is vital to business and Chicago's economy. Transit connects people with jobs, businesses with customers, fans with major attractions, and neighborhoods with each other. Transit unites the entire Chicago region and our nearly 10 million residents. Transit reduces traffic on our roads and pollution in our air. In short, Chicago cannot be a global city without a world-class transit system. The current system was designed in 1983, over 40 years ago. It was created so three separate systems compete with each other, but the future requires our systems to work together. 3 independent studies conducted by national experts have recommended a major restructuring of our transit system. That is because the current way we fund and operate the system is not centered on the most important stakeholder, the public. The upcoming fiscal cliff facing transit is a moment that demands we reimagine transit so it is the first choice for people to travel, not a service of last resort. To achieve this goal, we need reforms. We cannot just throw more money at the same system, at the same problems, and expect a different result. The legislation being introduced today includes reforms that will modernize our transit system and deliver safe, reliable, frequent, and integrated service throughout the Chicago region. The legislation includes reforms to bring more transparency and accountability to the system. And importantly, the legislation will create the transit system we need to retain and attract businesses and talented workers to Chicago. The future of work and business requires Chicago to have an integrated transit network that is dynamic and connected, and this legislation will help deliver that. The Civic Committee and the senior business leadership in Chicago support public transportation. To make Chicago the best place to live, work, and do business, we need excellent transit, and to achieve that, we need big changes and bold reforms. I want to thank again the legislative sponsors, the advocates, and the public who have called for better mass transit in Chicago. The business leaders in the Civic Committee are happy to join this effort to reimagine and reform transit for the future. I now would like to call up to the mic Jeremy Cuevas, who is a transit organizer, Northwest Center. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jeremy Cuevas. I'm the transportation organizer at the Northwest Center. I want to thank Active Transportation Alliance for inviting me to be here and our legislators as well. Transportation is essential. Transit is essential for seniors like Linda Brady, who's one of our leaders in Belmont-Cragen, who do not drive and need safe ways to get to the pharmacy. But right now, our buses are unreliable and too slow. More sustainable transportation options are essential for youth like Emmanuel Garcia, who's here today, who needs safe ways to get around the community, more specifically using bike lanes. But our transportation dollars are more likely going to roadways and not to bike lanes and sidewalks. Cleaner vehicles are essential for our whole neighborhood so we can breathe cleaner air and enjoy our back porches and our green spaces without pollution. The Clean and Equitable Transportation Act is coming not a moment too soon. We need more affordable mobility choices that respond to the needs of our residents. We can't assume that everyone has $50,000 to own and operate a personal vehicle. We deserve transit that focuses on community needs and not the fare box. We have to keep front and center the reality that if the region's transit system is significantly weakened further, the brunt of the effects would be felt by the groups least able to afford it, like seniors and residents in households with low incomes, people who are unable to drive due to a disability, and residents from communities of color. To get here today, I took a metro, a bus, and a scooter. I crossed county lines and transit agencies. I paid multiple fares and crossed my fingers that the schedule would run on time. I look forward to a day when transit is connected, easy to use, and one fare. Thank you.
Take it? So right now, the way that we propose it is it would be one agency with subsections with it for each of the different kinds of service. So, you know, a bus service might be a little bit different than running a commuter rail, right? So those would continue to remain underneath one global agency. Sure. Yes. Yes. So back in 2008, we actually put a requirement in legislation to create a universal fare. At this point, it still doesn't exist, and we're in 2024. So the idea would be that the user would only pay one time. They would know exactly what their fare would be, and anything that would have to come as a result of that would be a back office issue between the agencies. Oh, we've been having ongoing conversations. We've been talking about this for about 3 years, right? So I know I have, and I know Senator Villavalem has as well.
So I would first start by saying that I think this issue, the issue of public transit, touches every facet of our residents' lives in the region, and so we've been having ongoing conversations with stakeholders from the business community, the labor community, county board chairs, to the mayor's office, and everyone in between. So I think we're committed to continue those conversations. I think there's an openness. I think everyone understands the need for a system that is reliable, safe, affordable, equitable, and environmentally conscious. I think we're looking forward to having a robust conversation. Obviously, as I mentioned previously, the CMAP submitted their report to the governor and the Illinois General Assembly at the beginning of the year. Prior to that, RTA had their RTA, the Transit is the Answer report. So we thought, after those reports, it's time to put pen to paper. It's time to be bold in our vision for what a world-class public transit system should look like as we move forward and as we plan for the year 2050.
We're also really excited.
I think what's most important, if nothing else from this conversation today, is to first tackle the issue of governance and tackle the issue of service. We need to understand what type of governance, and we do, I believe, put forth a bold proposal through this bill that will provide the efficiency, the accountability, the transparency that commuters, and quite frankly non-commuters, people that have not engaged in the system, that we need engaged, what they want to see. And we need to plan the service that should be there when we talk about everybody we're talking about, right? Let me point out one statistic. 95 out of the top 100 longest commutes in the Chicago area region stem from Black and Latino communities. That is at its center, at its core, an equity issue, which means it's harder for those communities to get to their job, their school, their hospital. We need to tackle the issue of what type of service we would like to see for our riders and for our residents, and then we can talk about the funding that's needed.
Why not simply restructure the RTA to be what its name would imply, and what I think a lot of people think it is already, rather than create something to replace it? Because mechanically, you've got a structure in place. Why not simply give it the power and the governance that would make it a real regional transportation?
So I would go back to all of the research that has gone into the CMAP report, the PART report, which is kind of what brought us to this point. They really took a lot of time to get into the data. A lot of their recommendations came directly out of that data. And so I think it would be kind of, I don't think it would be the right approach if we didn't read that report and take into account what they were saying, and they're recommending some pretty significant changes. And as Senator Villavalem has said, we want to be bold, and we want to make real transformative change.